So I would like to know a little bit about the difference between each firm. So if we could just take a moment to talk about Bain and Deloitte and BCG and how they might differ in their corporate culture.
I think this is something Bain definitely, I mean, all the firms pride themselves on it, but Bain certainly promotes, and it's the leading reason why I went to Bain. I think it has a great corporate culture. The first thing that I would point to is just the people, right? Bain has this tendency to recruit people who are passionate about something in their lives, are very willing to engage with the world around them, I think is something that they really look for. And that's what I mean by a passion, really, right? Like, just as a small example, I was recently in something called the Bain Band. And sounds kind of goofy, but I was looking around at my other band members the other day, and I was just thinking, wow, these are all fantastic musicians. I mean, they were just really great musicians. They were passionate about it. There's this one woman on the band who plays like 10 instruments and very well, and she's very studied in music. And that's the kind of people that they look for. And that it plays very well with some of the other things that are required in consulting, like being able to talk to your clients and engage with them. You need to be able to have conversations with clients and get to know them on a personal basis, and that requires having some interests in your, with the world around you. Other things I would point to Bain's culture. There's a lot of structural things. So there's some differences in the staffing process. We have a professional staffing process that sort of takes the burden off of the individual within the firm. So you don't have to be selling yourself to partners. I think that's a really, really strong part about Bain. It just takes a whole dimension out of it from a competitive element as well. So I'd say Bain I would not consider Bain a competitive environment. There's definitely lots of firms that are competitive. And I think there actually are some pros and cons to each. It depends on your personality. It depends on whether you think you can thrive in that kind of environment, what kind of environment you even like. Obviously, those are all related, but Bain is, I think, on the less competitive side. So you have to ask yourself the question of what matters to you, what makes you, what drives you, and in what kind of environment are you going to thrive.
Excellent. Yeah. Vanessa?
It sounds kind of funny, but I think across all of the firms, if you're going into consulting, in terms of your technical competence, we're all looking for the same thing, right? We want smart people who can problem solve, who can analyze a problem, come up with solutions, give you the pros and cons to each solution, right? We're that level of competence is going to be, I think, table stakes at any of the firms, but. I think for a place like Deloitte, we are really we tend to be a culture where we value community. We value the fact that people want to spend time with each other, that a team dinner when you're on site for a client isn't a burden, but it's something you're actually looking forward to because these are people you're going to have fun with and you're going to relax over dinner and over a nice bottle of wine and call it a night. It also tends to be, it's a place where the firm we actively want to invest in every single one of our people. The expectation, of course, is that they also are investing in the firm. So I think one thing that's a little bit different with Deloitte still as being a partnership model is that we do ask our folks to be doing other things other than just client work. There are a lot of folks who come from other consulting firms that join Deloitte, and they don't understand this whole concept of doing, your client work should be all that speaks for your work and your value to the firm. But we want everybody to actually have a stake and feel ownership in the firm, and so we ask folks to do something. So it might be supporting recruiting events. It might be, I lead one of the teams that tries to foster community across our Northeast offices. And so we might do that with one-on-one partnerships, with coffees, with events, whatever it may be, happy hours. But that's my way of investing in the firm and feeling ownership of it. And in return, the firm also invests in me. So we tend to have people who want more than just I put in my hours and I'm gone for the day.
Is that investment, say, training or professional development?
Yep, it could be in training and in professional development. We do have a requirement that everybody puts in about 40 hours of learning into yourself, into your head. And so whether it's attending a conference, it's taking advantage of the hundreds of classes that we have offered online or virtually. We expect all of our people to be staying on top of their game and investing in themselves. But I think it also comes across because we have very much an apprenticeship model. So when you're coming into the firm for the first time, you are assigned somebody who's at your level. Some of the other firms probably do this too, but it really is the basis of how we extend our culture. But you come in and you've got a peer automatically who's there to answer any question. So it might be like, how do I book this travel? Where do I go on my first day? I don't even know what to do in the office on my first day. So it's somebody who you can ask those questions of. But when you're on that project team, everybody in the firm expects everyone else to mentor the new person on the team. It is an expectation. So we have the kind of environment where when I first joined, I was told, when you've got something, send it to somebody in your network and have them take a look at it. It doesn't need to be somebody on your project team, just someone you know. And without fail, those people made time for me when I was new to consulting and new to the firm. And so likewise, I do the same for folks who are coming to me. We send emails. The newest person, an analyst fresh out of undergrad, is invited and encouraged to send emails to the senior most partner and set up a coffee. May not always happen, but that's the kind of environment that we have. And so that, I think, again, it's building your network. So even if you do end up leaving Deloitte, you become part of our extended network and maybe a potential client of ours.
Interesting. Nick, how was it at BCG?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, this was a big question I had when I was recruiting at these firms. It felt like I was comparing three different shades of blue, right? Mm-hmm. It felt like it was the same thing. No, for every firm, people is very important. For every firm, they're looking for smart people. I think for me, I sort of divided it into soft factors and hard factors. So soft factors being you meet 5 or 6 or 7 people at a firm and try to get a sense of culture. What are the things that they value? For some of the harder things, I looked at ways that firms had tried to institutionalize culture across their different offices, and also specific things. So, for example, I think it's a great question to ask: how many team events does a partner attend? And at BCG, there were a lot of very senior people that would come to our team events, especially if they were held at some of their favorite locations. Certainly, that helped. But it was. I can think of all the cases I've been on, and there were certain partners I can point to who attended every single team event. That really stuck out to me and helped create a relationship where I could go to that senior partner and say, hey, I'm thinking about this or I'm doing that. I also think that there are things that firms do to help you when you come in and when you transition out. So when you come in, how much time do they give you? How many resources do they give you access to help you make a decision? How many people do they put you in touch with? When you're transitioning out, what sort of support do they give you? Is there a dedicated career person? Is there time that you're given, paid time that you're given to search? So these are all things I found at BCG. I found it to be an incredibly supportive culture. The people were definitely the biggest asset, and I think that there was this almost like this implicit contract, right? So a manager or partner will invest time in you, and when the time comes, you will really help that manager or partner out of a jam. And there are definitely those moments that happen when you don't have to go above and beyond, but you want to and you do because of all the time and energy that's been invested into you.
I think that's really strong that BCG actually gave you the resources upon exit of the consultancy, and that speaks a lot to, I think, their culture as well. So thank you guys for that answer. Okay.